if you don't have a why, nothing's going to get done. You can say the same thing for finances. You can say the same thing for health.
Yeah. I mean, know what your goals are before going to talk to a coach.
Is there any advice you would give to people about like hiring or looking for a coach? Because the one thing I could definitely touch on, having a coach myself, is you have to gel. You have to like them.
We're going to end up somewhere in 10 years, right? Like, let's say we don't die. We're going to end up somewhere. We're going to be if we're not dead, we're going to be at some point in life, we're going to have a situation, a certain number in our bank account, a certain, like, job at the time, a certain people surrounding us.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, people of all kinds of walks of life, from different places of the earth, to different galaxies, to different millennias, we are gathered here today for a special episode of the Start Yesterday podcast featuring Puffy and one of my best friends in the world, Mr. Shayan. I don't know how to say his last name. I refuse to learn. And yeah, well, welcome to the show, Mr. Shayan.
That's accurate. Yeah. No, not my last name is accurate. The fact that you refuse to learn is quite accurate. But yeah, thanks for having me. This is a very nice setup. I'm excited to talk. I like talking.
Yes, yeah, you're really good at that. That's one of your many specialties. You can talk to anybody, and it'll last a very long time, which can both be good and bad. If you're a friend of yours, sometimes it's very annoying because like you'll talk to like the hot dog vendor for like 30 minutes. But because of that, you met your girlfriend, right? Yeah. You just talk to like everybody and anyone.
It just works out.
It just works out. So for those of you who do not know, Shayan is a really good friend of mine. I'm going to pull it up on the screen. We went to Greece. Here's us in Greece. And before that, he was one of my clients, actually. So shout out to Noah, who might or might not be watching this. Noah is my longest friend. He stuck with me through thick and thin. We got him great results, and then he posted it on Instagram. And Shyan and I went to elementary school forever ago, but we weren't actually friends. We just were acquaintances because, well, we were at the same school. And then Noah posted it on Instagram, and then he reached out, and I guess the rest is history. We started as clients, I wasn't his client. We started as client to coach, and then it blossomed like a lot of my relationship with clients do, and we became really good friends. And then yeah, that's pretty much it.
And then we did a meal prep business together.
Oh, that's a story for another day, which I don't know if I want to fucking talk about.
But
yeah, I'm
just very successful. Hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in revenue.
No problem.
Doesn't matter. Revenue was there. It's very admirable, and we did a good job. So
I think we did the best job as we could. I don't think we did a great job.
It wasn't a good job. It was just a job. We did the job.
We did a job.
A job, and then it's like Steve Jobs now.
What, dead?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I get it. Okay, so let's start with you lost 30 pounds.
Yeah.
Not 40.
Yeah.
Not 20. 30 pounds.
Yeah.
Let's first start off with, I guess, what motivated you to start your journey?
I had gone through a breakup and kind of let myself go into sort of like a depressed state for a while, and then I just saw the post and I was like, you know what? It doesn't have to keep being like this. I reached out, we had a good consult, and over the next 11 months we worked together almost a year, no, it was a full year. It was a full year before I left for my trip to Spain.
Yep.
And basically in that year a lot changed. It was definitely like the start of the next chapter in my life.
So before we get into that, because we can kind of get into that, but I guess first start with what your initial struggles were and what motivated you, I guess, to start the fitness journey.
Well, I was just I had no energy, lethargic. I felt like I definitely had more potential, physically. I had, let's say, good genes, good testosterone, whatever, and all this stuff, but I wasn't putting it to use, and I was not feeling, almost, trapped in your own body. Not feeling, but feeling trapped in your own body is sort of the sensation I think a lot of people who struggle with whether it's their weight or just like their mobility or like their physical health in general. That's like a sort of the emotion that I felt, or the sensation that I had is feeling trapped in my own body, and I was tired of that. So I just wanted to give it a shot. And I'd never really worked with a trainer before. I think my mom always told me like, oh, it's a good idea, but I didn't really meet anyone that I wanted to start training with. But yeah, I don't exactly know what it was about you, but maybe the look, the glimmer,
it's an infection,
the glimmer in your eye, something like that. And we just started to work together.
I think I'm like Spider-Man. You know, I bite you and you meet me and I'm infectious.
Spider-Man doesn't bite people.
No, the spider does, or like Venom. Okay, like it just gets into you and it's like I'm infectious, man. It's like I think like. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm you're unique. I was gonna say you're a unique character, and so definitely like
not many people forget meeting me.
Yes, yeah,
both good and some bad, but mostly good.
It's memorable. That's definitely for sure.
Mostly memorable. Yeah. So I guess for you, like you didn't have a coach, right? And that's a good point. You never worked with someone before, and so what would you? I guess is there any advice you would give to people about like hiring or looking for a coach? Because the one thing I could definitely touch on having a coach myself is you have to gel. You have to like them.
I mean, know what your goals are before going to talk to a coach. Don't waste anybody's time. Know what you want to do.
Yes and no.
For example, I'm saying if you know you 100% don't want to, I don't know, like you're like I don't know. I'm just trying to think about like if you know you don't want to leave your home, you want to work out at home or something like that.
Yeah.
Have like criteria so that you can look for a coach that can work within your criteria. Whether it's like you want to work from your house or you have a certain budget or you know nutrition is more important to you. Or you struggle when you like there's some coaches have no idea anything about nutrition. So
zero.
So like if that's and then. To be fair, though, you don't really know what's important to you until you kind of have those conversations. I'm just saying, like, kind of know your criteria and then go out and talk.
No, that's fair. I would say in terms of goal setting, you could leave that to the coach to help you determine that because not everybody's going to know, okay, I need to do this. I want to do this in this amount of time. You don't need to have a specific dead set timing, but you should have, like you said, like location or, you know, date and time preferences or the understanding and motivation to be like, shit. I actually want to hire someone. I'm not going to call someone and waste their time and set up a consult and then say, I have to think about it because I understand, like, you reached out and you wanted to kind of, I guess, feel it out. But unless I told you...
You had a thing going on at the time, too, that was like let's work together for, like, a month. I don't know if it wasn't like a month free. It was sort of like I don't know. It was a trial basis something.
Well, I still have it something similar where it's like a guarantee. But the guarantee is basically like if you follow the plan and you can prove it that you did 90% and you don't get any results.
And that's kind of my point. Like people don't really like
do shit.
Whatever. Yeah, honestly, like I've paid for a lot of stuff, whether it's courses and stuff, and you know you don't always use everything. So like. The value's there. It's just, are you taking advantage of it or not? And sometimes the value isn't there. So just talk to a decent amount of people so you can compare and contrast. And
I would say yes and no. I mean, in terms of me as a coach, like the value that I give and offer is by far and away so much more than like any other coach that I know.
But how's anyone going to know that if they don't talk to other people and then
I feel like that overcomplicates the process though. I'm saying maybe talk to one other person and then realize why I'm better, but maybe not me. I'm just saying in general, like go talk to 2 people. You really don't like people overcomplicate that.
You don't need
talk 10. To 10.
You don't need 10. But yeah, like it's good to have maybe someone to compare it to because then you think, this person's like ripping me off, and then you go to someone else and you're like, this guy's actually ripping me off. So that first guy was giving me a good price. Like,
well, no, I wouldn't say it's based off of price. It's an investment into your health. I would say.
No, well, I'm just saying if you don't know like what your options are, something might seem expensive until you go and realize that no, this is the standard, this is the average, or this is like, you know what I mean? Like it could seem expensive until you compare.
That's true.
And then you're like, actually, that was very reasonable. You know what I mean?
Like, like I have people reach out to me all the time, and they're like, okay, how much do you cost? And it's like, to me, it's not a matter of cost. It's a matter of your investment into your health. I don't really discuss pricing or my pricing because I have obviously like flexible options, but then it's also like if that's your number one thing you're kind of asking about, probably not. You're right.
Fit. It's more so the fit, like personality wise and 100%. Like coaching style. That's what I meant more so just go. But that's what I'm saying. You got to talk to. It's like dating, man. You can't like date one like you could, and some people do, but it's not that like you date one person and then you're like this is the one, and then you just run with it. Like you kind of you might see. You might go on a first date with a couple of people and then have your second date with the one that you feel like the most.
All I would say, if anybody's watching this and considering hiring me, come to me last. Don't come to me first. And I say that because I know what I offer. I know the experience that I have. I know like the results that I give and the results that I guarantee. Obviously vibing and personality is really important, but like if you have not made up your mind and you have not made up your decision, you're kind of like feeling out the market.
Go waste other people's time. Come to me.
Basically, I'm not saying that to be a dick. I'm just saying that because like nothing frustrates me more than us having an hour talk, and then at the end of it, like you tell me I have to think about it, which at that point, genuinely, there's nothing to think about unless like in terms of the financial aspect or the commitment, you need to clear it with your spouse. That's pretty much the only logical explanation someone could give me. But then it's also like, okay, if you want to really move forward, then well, I could talk more about sales, but that's not what this conversation's about. But I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not trying to be a dick. It's just when imagine the roles reversed. If you're a trainer or you're selling something and someone's like, okay, well, they book an hour off your time, and then it's like at the end of it, they really like you go over everything, you answer every question. They're like, I still have to think about it. At that point, there's nothing they have to really think about. It's just they're not motivated to take enough action to change, and that's what frustrates me, right? Because you did think about it before you probably came to talk to me. You saw my YouTube, you saw my content, you looked at my website, you did think about it. You booked a call on my calendar, you did think about it, right? And now we're here, now we're talking about it, so there's nothing to think about at that point.
I think the biggest problem for people is honestly money. Like if people had like literally just like won the lottery.
Yeah.
I mean, I know for myself, I don't know about others, I wouldn't hesitate to hire not just a personal trainer for like my physical health and nutrition, but also even like I'd hire a personal swim instructor and a bunch of personal things that like cost a lot of money. Top people. Yeah, like when you make a lot of money, then you kind of you want to invest in these things, and you freely do because you know you're gonna,
and it's an ROI on your time.
Yeah,
not on your time, on your body, on yourself.
Yeah, just right? Even like for example, like I've always wanted to, let's say like I did learn guitar, but then I kind of forgot it, and like I've always wanted to learn it again. It's like one of the things with like, and we're gonna talk about finance later, so financial freedom. I'm just trying to tie it together. Is like when you have the money and the time, the financial freedom, then you like hire a personal guitar coach, teacher, and then you get really good at that. And so I'm saying, I think if people had the money, there is really no hesitation to be like, you know what, I do want to feel better. This coach is going to help me get me there. It's easier than doing it on my own. In fact, it's probably more effective than doing it on my own. I'm ready to invest. Or, oh, I want to learn these other skills, whether it's a language or an instrument or whatever. I'm going to hire somebody to teach me, and I'm going to pay top dollar for it if I have the money for it. But it's easy. It's almost like a no-brainer. And that's just kind of my own thinking about it. Like that when I'm going to make like even more money than I am right now, I'm going to invest it back into hiring coaches and teachers and kind of personal development and other things like that. So
I agree with everything. But the also thing is when someone's like, I have to think about it, or I can't afford it. Chances are most people can't afford it, especially when we're talking about weight loss, because they're blowing easily $500, $1,000 a month on fast food or weed or alcohol. Or,
like if you just made tweaks and you took it from other places in your life, you could afford it.
You literally do financial literacy. You know that. And when we work together, I hope you don't mind me putting you on blast. You smoked a fuck ton of weed. So if you told me I can't afford it, I would have hit you in the head. Maybe, okay, I didn't know you that well, but I would have yelled at you and been like, what are you talking about? You're blowing like $400, $500 a month on weed. Maybe around that,
no,
right?
that's way too, that's
is that a lot?
Too much, yeah.
Okay, well, it's still like a couple $100 a month on weed, but point is, we'll get to the, if anybody's curious, Shy or Shay or whatever, Shayan is, he does a lot of financial literacy, so we're going to get into that later in the podcast, breaking down, I guess, kind of recommendations on what he would recommend. But before we do that, like, what are some of the biggest challenges, and how did you overcome them? And like, I guess, what did I help you with my guidance?
Say that one more time.
Describe, like, I guess, working with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my guidance, and like, what was some of the biggest challenges that we overcame? Like, how did we overcame that?
I don't think there were too many challenges with us working together. I just remember like me not wanting to work out, but you pushing me through it. Like
so motivation.
Like, yeah, I mean, honestly, like, yeah, it's like, it's just kind of hard to put, because you can even do a workout, but are you really like giving it your all? Are you really pushing yourself?
Yeah, because when you work out alone, it's not.
It's harder to push yourself when you're alone, especially if you don't have too much experience. Pushing yourself with someone else, like, that kind of knows that you're kind of holding back on your true limits, and it's just something that like we are often not knowing our real capabilities until we push ourselves, and then we realize, oh, actually I was stronger than I thought I was. I didn't think I could do that last rep, but I could, or in other areas of life as well. So honestly, I don't think there's any challenges, but motivation is what you helped me kind of deal with, and not just motivation, but the effectiveness of the workout. Like, okay, I'm putting 40 minutes, but what am I doing in that 40 minutes? Or I'm doing 10 reps, but how focused are those 10 reps? How effective are those 10 reps?
And what about the nutritional aspect?
Yeah, well, that was really helpful. That's kind of where the meal prep came in, right?
Yeah.
There was like, it's hard, especially for a lot of people. So like if they don't have time to cook and clean and things like that. So yeah, you definitely helped with tracking. Like I would always update my sort of macros and stuff, but at the same time, obviously having the meal prep business was quite helpful at the time.
Yeah, at the time when we were working together, I did that.
Yeah, and, so like that's a big deal. Like I think that really saves me. I mean, not that I couldn't cook or clean, but it's just like I obviously I think I'd rather save that time and put it into somewhere else. Yeah, put the time towards something else.
I would say anybody watching this who's like on the fence or says they don't have time to eat clean or cook better or whatever excuse you want to make, it's somewhat valid. I don't discredit that. As long as you're making more than like I would say like 65 or 70 grand a year. I was gonna say a month. That would be insane. But if you're making like the bare minimum of like I guess the average income of Toronto is like basically like 65 70 grand, your time is worth like $25-30 an hour. And so if you just hired someone else to cook for you and you save those 3-4 hours, it's literally worth more than you having to go to the grocery store, picking it up, cleaning, unpacking, cooking, all that jazz. Like your time's literally worth more than that, but people just look at the grand scheme of the number.
Well, see, is your time worth more than that? If you spend that time watching Netflix, then it's not worth more than that.
Correct.
Right? But if you spend that, and that's sort of like what I was trying to say, the issue with people is the money thing. Like when they say, oh, I want to think about it, and even if they have the money, it's the mindset around money. And it's like, oh yeah, you could probably budget better and afford this, and it probably would save you more in the long run. And actually, if you feel healthier and have more energy in your day, you're probably going to get more done. But if you're not a go-getter, if you don't have a business or a job that allows you to make more money with more effort you put in, making it basically performance-based, then you're not, then yeah, you saving time or having more energy, maybe you're not going to get that ROI, because all you do with it is just watch Netflix. Like, I'm going to save time and then just spend it on YouTube or Netflix or whatever, versus like, I'm going to save time and work on my business. Or I'm going to have more health, and then I'm going to use that health to go out and do the things that I want to do, rather than just like, again, like that's why it's hard for people to see that. They don't see the ROI of, if I get healthier, I'll be able to spend more time with my family and play ball with my kids, because they don't play ball with their kids anyway. They don't even spend time with their family anyways. So the ROI is really only there for people who do want that better life for themselves, and that's actually that decision that needs to be made before they come to a call or a conversation. So just the whole thing about money and
so what
time
are,
and all
I guess
that
big
stuff.
things that or changes that you made, or like I guess milestones and achievements that you made during your journey that I guess you're proud of? Like what changed basically?
I had routine. That was a big thing. Like, yeah, I was working out regularly, and then I had routine around it. And I was eating more regularly, and I had routine around it. So those, just routine, I think, is the big change.
And I guess is there any like specifics in terms of I guess metrics or anything like that?
Obviously the weight loss was good, and then the muscle gain, and I think like the body fat percentage, and then being able to lift more weight or just feel stronger, have less pain in my back and in my like low back and hips, like because I was sitting a lot and stuff like that. Yeah, so I mean, the milestones were feeling better, not feeling in pain, you know, having more mobility, being stronger, feeling more confident. Yeah, that all helped, and that's why I had that confidence going into that Spain trip, and you know, the rest is history.
Met the rest, the love of your life.
Yeah. So
well, hopefully this doesn't outdate us, or what's the word? Like, no, it's fine.
Like, it's like you look back on it. No, no, it'll be good. We're gonna look back on it and be like, yeah, we are.
It's a pretty cool story that we don't need to bore you with. But he met his girlfriend in Barcelona. She's nice. Hi, Caro.
And then I asked her to come back to Canada with me.
Yeah, he convinced not a complete stranger, but he convinced someone that he's only known for 4 months to fly to another continent.
No, it was like 2 months. Like, or
really? It was only 2 months?
Well, I mean, like when we'd only like dated for like a month and a half or 2 months in Spain, and then she went back to Italy, to her home in Italy, and then we like met up again in Morocco, and then I was like, come to Canada with me. Wow. And so yeah, I think at that point it was 4 months. I think it was 4 months that we knew each other at that point when I asked. But I also asked her the first night we met. First night we met, I was like, you should come to Canada. I was saying it as a joke.
No, you're saying it as a joke, yeah.
But she came to Canada.
Huh. Well,
me.
hi, Caro.
So,
Okay, so now we're going to segue into, I guess...
So workout. You might meet your girlfriend if you come work out with Adam.
I guess that's a good moral of the story. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm not like a love guru by any means, but that does have a tendency to happen. You know, you work on yourself, you get more confidence, you might put yourself out there, and, you know...
if anybody's feeling lonely, you can give Adam a call.
Well, there's also that. Like, I mean, honestly, this journey is really hard to do on your own. It's very, 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 very hard to do and very challenging to do on your own. So having that extra motivation and guidance and external support is kind of necessary. You know, whether someone just broke up with you or like you're going through a breakup or maybe your girlfriend, your wife doesn't really support you. I mean, that's a story for another day. Maybe find someone else. But if that's the case, like, I'm here to help genuinely. Like, I just want your success. Like, people work with me because they want success. I literally guarantee results. So it's like, well, I mean, don't really work with me if you're not going to put the motivation, if you're not motivated and you're not going to take action to change, but that's okay too. Like, in the sense of like, if you just want to like shoot the shit and like have someone to talk to and have someone to like make you accountable to work out, that's fine. But like, if you're not going to do the extra stuff to get the results, then that's a different story.
Yeah. You know, it's the, if you're just talking about like, okay, you need to make that decision that you want to do something or you want to change. And if you're hiring a coach, even if like they're the crappiest coach, you might still get results if you're really putting in your most effort. And I think like that's that extreme ownership, extreme accountability. Like I could blame the coach, or I could blame the system, or I could see what I could do to do better. And then if you're not doing everything you could do to do better, you could look externally, but you're probably not going to get the results you need if you just keep looking externally. So it's like, what could I keep doing better? And then from there, if you're really putting your best effort in, maybe you're not working with the right person or whatever.
Yeah, if you're putting in about 80% effort and you're not getting results, then sure, you could blame the coach. But most people just jump to straight conclusions and blame the coach when they really haven't
put the time or effort in.
Or adherence, right?
To the plan, yes.
Like, I mean, and I really never expect anyone to be 100% on point with anything, but at least, like, fuck, meet me halfway. Literally 50% is very doable, right? But I guess let's transition to your career now, or your financial literacy. That was a big reason I wanted you on the podcast, other than to just talk about how great I am. But I think a lot of people are useless at understanding what to do, how to do with money, what to invest in. And I mean, I guess for you, like, what inspired you to kind of pursue the career in this field industry?
Okay, two parts. First off, I learned finance because I wanted to help those in my own life, myself, my family, my friends, like, get more financially fit, if you will. So, not just physically fit, but also financially fit. And I learned it from myself and my own family and my own circle. And then I was like, well, if I'm going to learn it for myself, I might as well help a bunch of other people with it too. And the opportunity is there, the need is there, the demand for it is there. And I'm what I've always wanted to do is have a work or a job or a career, not a job, a career, a lifestyle that's been centered around giving people advice or consulting and helping them. And I think what better thing to help people on than a fundamental thing like finance. So that's what inspired me to get started.
So I guess, like, what is your approach to teaching, like, financial literacy? Like, how do you help people make informed decisions?
So basically, what I do on a day-to-day is I provide a free financial literacy education that's basically over 3 or 4 45-minute meetings, online or in person, or I do seminars, like group settings sometimes. But basically, these sessions are sort of the A to Z of everything that you need to know for a good financial future, for a secure and well-planned financial future. And that knowledge is going to serve you forever. And at the end of that sort of education, we offer people the opportunity to create a plan with us using that knowledge that we just went through. So it's education first, consultation after, and then people can do with that what they want. And we offer it as a complimentary service because the belief is every family should have somebody in that family that is financially literate to help everyone else. Like, not everyone needs to, I mean, everyone should know this stuff, but maybe everyone's not going to take the time. So at least every family should have at least one person that knows this stuff. And so that's the mission, and that's why we provide it for free, whether people want to work with us afterwards or not, or put the plans into action or not. That's not, like, I genuinely mean this. It's no strings attached. Yeah. because the mission is not about the results of that. It's just about sharing knowledge and information, so people have their option. They know their options. And the feedback I've gotten over doing this over the last year is that 9 out of 10 times people are happy with what they're learning, and they're telling me that, okay, this has really changed the trajectory of my life because I learned something I didn't know before. Or they've known some of this stuff, but there's been some uncertainty around it, or they needed a good refresher, or they've known all this stuff but never put it into action.
Yeah.
So, that's basically what I got. But I started on this path and stuff. And just to mention where I started, I started in, I went to business school, and so I have like a basic business foundation.
Shout out to Schulich.
Right, Schulich School of Business, and it's like a decent, one of the good business schools in Canada. And I did my education there, international business, and that's why I went to Spain for that last semester on exchange, where I met Caro. And the point is that I had that background, and then I went into tech sales because I liked tech, and I liked the idea of sales, and sales being a way to basically find win-win situations, right? And not necessarily, I think a lot of people I kind of want to talk to you about sales a little bit. I've had a lot of conversations over last week. The people are like, oh yeah, like sales is, I don't like sales because sales is about convincing or persuading. And I'm really of the firm belief that sales is pretty much, first off, anytime you want to communicate your point to anybody, that is what sales is, and sales is communication.
Yep.
And like, if you understand that well, then you understand that anything you ever want in life, whether it's the job, the promotion, the girlfriend, or the
Yep.
you know, making up with your family, it's all a way of having to communicate your point successfully
Yep.
to the other person and finding win-win situations. So to me, that's what sales is. And so when I say the sentence "sales is everything," some people are really like, you know, oh, so you're just always thinking about what you could kind of get out of things. And I'm like, that's all just perspective, honestly. And no, it's just about good communication and finding those win-wins. So I'm not sure why I brought up sales. I think the point was that we were talking about sort of financial literacy and how I started on this path. And so I did tech sales for a while, and I liked sales and I liked the tech world, but I didn't really see a future in that specific field. Working in the 9-to-5 environment. I know you just spoke with Cole Resnick on your last episode, and you know, he mentioned something about not being able to do a 9-to-5. It's just not for him. And I took a leap of faith into this, like kind of quitting my 9-to-5 and going into this. Obviously started it part-time before I quit, but ever since I quit, every time I get back from a trip or a vacation, I'm excited to get back to work, which is something unique, something I didn't have before when I was in my 9-to-5. Yeah, when we went to Greece, I got back from Greece, I was hyped to get back from vacation and get back to work, because I was like, I'm working on my own business and I'm doing things that I've been getting good feedback. I'm helping people. At least that's how I genuinely feel. And I try to do my best. Like, I'm not perfect, but I do try to do my best. And I think that at least as far as the advice and education I offer, it's better than what's out there. So that's what is this? This is your birthday.
Yeah.
And
that was 5 days after the meal prep business shot.
Oh, we look good here.
Those
we don't look like we've been let down by our
we didn't let
business.
it go.
Yeah, we didn't let it get to us. No. Yeah. So anyways, I know that was pretty long, but the point is,
that's good, man.
I started in that field. I didn't see a future in it. I took my old business education background from university, and I paired it with, I got some licenses to be a broker for investment and insurance products. And basically what I do now is provide this education and create plans for people. And that's what the day-to-day looks like. And I'm very happy to be doing it. So.
Well, I mean, in terms of like explaining or teaching people, it's really something that's necessary, because, you know, it's like some people's dads go and they go and get milk and they never come back. So there's certain people that like don't have like that aspect with, no, I'm not saying all the dads are responsible for finances, but I'm just saying like some people don't know how to tie a tie or tie a shoe or like to lace up skates. Like there's all these little things, and it's like the same thing. Like I'm fortunate enough to have a lot of, I mean, I guess it's just because I could blame the Jewish genes, right? Where it's just a part of the DNA where, for whatever reason, Jews just know and do a lot about stuff with money. So my dad's really knowledgeable. My grandpa is very knowledgeable.
You guys pass it down through the generations.
Yeah, exactly. And like a lot of my friends are very knowledgeable. And so but not everybody that's that fortunate. People don't know what an RRSP is, a TFSA is, and the new thing, the FHSA, right? They don't know what a S&P 500 is. Like and it's surprising and quite shocking how many people don't know. And it's like, I'm not saying like, I'm not going to do some Andrew Tate rant and be like, you have to escape the matrix and invest in compound interest in Warren Buffett and all this shit. But you should have a baseline of knowledge. So then potentially, like, it's really dumb to just have, even if you have 1,000, maybe not 1,000. Okay, most of you watching this could probably save about $5,000 a year, even if you're making like $60,000 a year.
Dude, start with smaller numbers.
Okay.
If anybody wants to start like $50 a month, which is like,
that's like $600 a year.
Like, yeah, it's not a lot of money. Not a lot. No, but you could. That's a starting point.
Well, it is a starting point for some. Yeah.
Right. Especially like, if you're young. Like people tell me, like, this is what kind of, I don't know. I get a little frustrated because I see this thing now. Everyone I talk to, some people don't have a lot of money, and so they say, "I'll learn this when I make a lot of money." No, and I'm like, dumb. Bro, that's not. It's the reverse. You learn this before you think you're gonna like have this fortune and then figure out what to do with it. Building the fortune is learning these things first. Taxes, how to reduce your taxes, your capital gains taxes, how they're actually calculated. Like, you know, again, I have people who work at banks, and I talk to them about this stuff, and there's still stuff they don't know. So, I'm not saying everybody. Obviously, there's like tons of educated people out there, but there's definitely more people who don't know than know. And so we just want to do our part in spreading the information.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would encourage anybody watching this, like, I mean, if you don't know, like, the acronyms that I said, if you don't know what a TFSA is, you don't know what an RRSP is, you don't know what a FHSA is, you don't know what to do with your investments or your savings, or you're trying to build wealth, and you're trying to save money, you're trying to build, like, passive income, or not even passive, you're just trying to build, like, income on your income.
Plan for the future. Dude, right? You know, most people, right now, if you retire in Canada and you're relying only on the Canadian pension plan,
you're fucked.
The maximum I think right now they give is around $1,300 a month, which is not enough to live off of.
Not. Especially with renting.
And the average Canadian gets about $800 a month from CPP right now, and that's taxable. So you got to pay tax on that on top of that. So whatever. There's OAS and there's other things, and you might have some money saved up of your own. But a lot of people actually, if you look at even wealth, I know this Instagram page Wealth that everyone who's in there kind of in this universe kind of follows that page. They just posted like the average savings of people in different age groups, and it was like $80,000 at like the age of 65.
That's
like nothing. Yeah.
Like, and for under 25, it was what, $50?
It's like something like that. Like so the point is,
you need to start when you're younger, because there's a crazy concept called compound interest, right? And I'm not a mathematician, but there's a very smart philosopher who does a lot of investments called Warren Buffett, and if you don't know who he is, Google it. He's one of the richest men in the world. He was, I think, at one point the top third richest guy in the world, and he did it through a crazy concept called compound interest and investing into businesses that didn't fail. And you can only get, there's a difference between getting money and getting wealth. You're setting yourself up for long-term success. So the shit's not going to happen overnight, right? But if you do the compound interest, I think it was like, if you invest like, if you start with like $100,000 or something, no, if you start with like $5,000 a year from the age of like 20 to 30, so then that's like, you'd have like 50 grand. Then from 30 to 40, that would turn into like 200. And then from like 40 to 50, that would then turn into like 500 grand.
Okay, wait, I have an actual, I just did like a plan the other day, so I have an actual number. If you save $1,200 a month.
Yeah.
So this is a very odd number.
15 grand a month. It's 15 grand a year.
Just around. So if you pay, $1,200 a month for 30 years.
Yep.
Compounding at 8%, which is
that's an average S&P 500.
Reasonable, 8%. You end up having 1.8 million after 30 years,
and that's insane.
That's good money. Now that's actually
life-changing money.
But by the way, you know what's funny though? Like, that's a lot of money that a lot of people just don't have sitting around.
Yep.
But even with that, honestly, like,
no, but even
that
if you took it
might
in half,
not be enough necessarily to like retire off of in a great way. Like
it depends.
It depends how you look at it. So if you want to get to a point where your money is giving you, just from its growth, let's say like you have $1 million, right? And it grows 10% a year. That's $100,000 a year, and you're living off that $100,000. Like, that could work for you. You know what I mean?
Literally what my grandma's doing.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Like, so, but like, to get it to that point, yeah, you have to be disciplined and start young and start early. And you can't extend the end of your life. You don't know when the end is, so you can just start now or start yesterday.
Yeah, start yesterday. Literally,
the name of the podcast.
Do that with finances. But even if you took the 1,200 and divided it by 2, which is 600 a month, I think that's very doable for a lot of people. Then instead of 1.8 million in 30 years, that's still 900 grand.
No, the math's not exactly half, but it's good.
Roughly.
It's still
roughly okay. So between 750 and like $1 million. That's still so much better than, I'm 60 years old with 80 grand in the bank. What are you gonna do? You can't live off to that. You can't retire.
That's why you see. Look in your like local Tim Hortons or Walmart or who's working there.
A lot of
these like
people.
elderly people who like that probably they wish they could be doing something else with their time.
And I saw a post the other day on Instagram, and this is kind of it's still on topic. It's about life insurance, right? Which is it's similar. You don't do life insurance, right?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking at you very curiously.
The quote was basically like, well, it wasn't really a quote. A close friend of a friend passed away, and they didn't have life insurance set up. So they had to basically start a GoFundMe page to pay for the funeral expenses. Yeah. And so it goes to the same degree of financial literacy, but then it's hand in hand with whether you're setting yourself up for wealth, or you're setting yourself up, or maybe your spouse or your kids for wealth. Like nobody knows how long you're gonna like be on this planet for. I am 25 years of age, and I still have I have 3 different policies for life insurance, right? Because a lot of people want to murder me. No, I'm joking, but it's because like you never know what's gonna happen. So the way I look at it is like, A, it's a good investment, and then B, it's like, if I pass away, Shy is literally on my life insurance policy, at least one of them. So sharing
that information.
Oh really? I can't? Is that illegal?
No, it's not illegal. Just like,
well, what? You're not gonna murder me?
No, and if anyone kills you, that they know the money's coming to me now. So
so then they might kill you, but they don't know the other 2 people. It's split 33%. Right? I'm not gonna say the other 2 people, but the way I look at it is like, look, if I pass away and that lump sum of money, I'm dead. Right? You're gonna be really distraught, and the other person and the other 2 people that are really close friends of mine are going to be very upset as well. But at least like that amount of money would make a significant impact in your life, to where it's like you could literally use that money to put a down payment on a house, which in this city is very difficult to do. You will then remember me every time
for the rest of my life.
You take a shit in that house, just like I remember you because you bought me a bidet. You bought me a bidet for my birthday.
Every time you take a shit, you think of me. That's nice. Do you
it really helped
every
me.
Time? Do you every time?
Not every time, but like when I had my surgery, bro, like in December.
Got it for you?
No. But like when I had my surgery in December, that was a lifesaver. Otherwise, I would have had to ask my dad.
Yeah,
for help.
Those are helpful. Yeah, I honestly. Anyways, okay. So I about the life insurance thing, it is meant to help the people who you leave behind.
Yeah.
Help them maintain. I used to think it was like many years ago. I used to think life insurance was like to help you with the emotional grief of loss. Like, oh, you just lost someone you love. Here's like $1 million to like feel better about.
But
that's not what it's. But that's not what it's for. That's what I used to think it was for when I was like a kid. So basically, like it's to help people maintain their lifestyle when somebody important dies in the family, whether that's a sibling. Whether that's the breadwinner, whether it's the caretaker, whether it's like, and then who are you leaving behind? It could be kids, it could be elderly parents, it could be siblings, like we said, or a spouse or something. So that's one side of life insurance. Obviously, the other side, as you mentioned, is investing for your own life. That's with permanent life insurance, which is a whole thing a lot of people don't know about. Like, we teach that. Most people don't know you can invest in life insurance as an investment vehicle.
Yeah, that's what I'm
doing. Some people don't like it. Some people like it. I think there's arguments. I can understand both sides, and it depends on a person's situation, but it's definitely worth learning about and considering and looking at your options. And that's the whole point that we try to drive. There's something, I think I have my most important thing I want to leave in this episode. All right.
Okay, here we go. Lay it on me. Gonorrhea.
I've had a couple of conversations with friends, and this is my mindset now because of what I'm consuming on YouTube or books or podcasts and stuff like this. We're going to end up somewhere in 10 years, right? Like, let's say we don't die. We're going to end up somewhere. We're going to be if we're not dead, we're going to be at some point in life, we're going to have a situation, a certain number in our bank account, a certain like job at the time, a certain people surrounding us, certain lifestyle. So 10 years, we know if we don't die, we're going to arrive. For most people, they don't know where it is, and it's just like, I hope I arrive somewhere good. I've switched my mindset to I am deciding where I'm going to be in 10 years. Now, obviously, there's going to be things that throw me off that plan, and I'm going to have to adjust, and not everything goes to plan. But I'm making a decision of where I want to be in 10 years, and I'm working towards it. It's intentional. That's the word, intention, versus I hope I end up somewhere good in 10 years. And so this is my biggest thing I want to leave with people, that you're going to end up somewhere in 10 years no matter what.
Yep.
So you could leave it up to chance and leave it up to what the world wants to put in, where it wants to put you, or you can make that decision for yourself. And I'm all for like going with the flow of things and trusting the universe and believing that opportunities come to us from sources outside of ourselves. I believe in all that. And so I'm not saying that like everything is in your control, but it is incredibly helpful and in fact necessary, I really believe, to have an intention and have a direction and make your decision and say, this is where I want to be in 10 years. And I'm going to make decisions today based on where I want to be in 10 years. Now, am I going to end up there exactly? Maybe not. That's not what's important. What's important is the intention you set today. And the sentence that I spoke with a friend of mine that he said this to me, that I really think a lot of people have this mindset, is he said, it's scary to think that I can achieve what I really want.
Ooh, bars.
Like, it's scary to think I can actually be successful, because then I have nobody to blame but myself if I'm not.
Well, I think to tie it into fitness, I would say the exact same thing would apply to that as well. Maybe it's just not on... See, the good thing about, I guess, a weight loss journey, it's not going to take you the same time... Well, it's going to take you like a decade of neglect to like screw up to the point where you probably want to make drastic changes, but it's not going to take you a decade to undo it, right? With compound interest or investments, it does take not a significant, but it does take time to actually get results, and people like get bored. They want instant gratification. Same thing with fitness, but you're going to, like you said, you're going to get there one way or the other. You're going to be... Most people watching this, 10 years from now, you're going to be alive. You're going to be in either the same position, better or worse. And chances are, if you don't take any action, whether it's your health or whether it's your finances, it's going to be worse, because the economy is going to be worse and your health is going to be worse. If you're unhealthy right now, you're not going to just magically become, you're not going to take a pill, you're not going to be, I'm a leprechaun. You're not going to just magically become something else.
I think people are always hoping, I hope the government gets better. I hope the economy gets better.
And even if that does.
And even if it does, but let's assume,
they're
honestly...
They're not going to put $100,000 in your fucking bank account.
First off, let's assume... Like, it's probably not, like, I think it's better to go with the assumption that things aren't going to get better. Like,
I mean, it can't get worse with Trudeau.
Well, don't jinx it, bro.
Shut up, PPC.
Don't jinx it. But I'm just trying to say, like, I think a lot of people are, like, waiting for some external thing to come and save them.
Yeah.
And, it's the sense, just like, no one's coming to save you. You got to save yourself.
Jesus is coming. Are you ready?
Right? Yeah, the second coming.
When Jesus
I am
comes,
ready.
are you ready?
I am ready. I'm
Jewish Jesus might come. He might bless us all, but he's not blessing you and your bank account with money. He might perform miracles.
Ways, yeah, but
like, he might, birth your child. I don't know.
But he's not putting money in your bank account.
But he's not putting money in your bank account. And he sure as shit, he's not going to perform the miracle if you put yourself in the position of gaining 100 pounds over the last 10 years. I feel like there's better miracles to achieve, like a kid dying from cancer, than him working his Jesus magic and like removing the 100 pounds of fat on you. That's just my opinion. I'm not a spiritual guy. Okay, I got a little carried away.
So the point is, I think you could say, I hope the government will get better. I hope the economy will get better, and I hope it does too. But if it doesn't, what are you doing about it? And I think I've really switched into I don't care who's in power. Yeah. I don't care who's, like, as long as they don't end up like killing me, but like to an extent to I don't care, because I'm doing my own thing here, and once I succeed doing my own thing here, I can go in and participate in politics or other kinds of things that I care about, that I want to have an impact in. But I'm not too concerned about who's in charge, because I'm not counting on them to save me. So I don't care if it's left or right or upside down. I mean, I do care, but I'm saying I'm not counting on them as my sole dependence. I'm not being dependent on them. That's the point. So
what would you suggest, or what are common mistakes that people make, I guess, with financial literacy or just in general, and like how to avoid them?
Start doing learning, literally even just start learning today, even if you have zero money to invest, even if you're in debt. Like, one of the things I help people with is getting out of debt. So it doesn't matter if you have $0 or -$dollars in your bank account. Come and learn, and you can take steps to make the situation better a year from, with the decisions you make today, be in a better position a year from now. So I think the only mistake I really see is people, when I offer a lot of people free education, they'll just tell me, I already know stuff, or, well, like, I'm too young for this, right? Or like, so
they're giving you bullshit excuses and objections.
And I just feel bad, because I'm like, I have no doubt that like down the, and hopefully people will likely have different priorities and down the line as they grow older, and so they'll change their minds. But I just feel bad, because I'm like, I see where my own family members are later on in life, and I know that I don't want to be there. And I'm pretty sure that the people who have that mindset when they turn down like free financial education are on a path to end up like no better than their last generation, and probably worse. Probably in a worse situation.
Same thing with fitness, bro.
Yeah, it's the same. Fitness and finance, right?
If someone's not willing to take action, be motivated to sign up for a free I
like all these photos in the back.
If someone's not willing and motivated to take action for finances, and it's free, it's genuinely, there's no strings attached. You don't ask for a card. What the fuck is nothing's gonna help them. Like we talked about, God's not gonna help them, a leprechaun's not gonna help them.
Yeah.
You know, whatever other mythical creature, you're not gonna get, like, maybe you can win the lottery, but also if you're broke and you're buying lottery tickets, that's also pretty dumb. But
I got another golden nugget. People will often say, I've already heard all this stuff before, and it's the same advice.
But then why aren't you doing anything?
Why aren't you? Are you the same person as you were when you first heard this advice?
Probably
if
not.
the answer is, well, no, I actually want to say yes. Like, a lot of people, they'll hear the same advice and nothing will have changed in their lives. And I'm like, if you haven't put any of the advice in action, then yeah, it's meant to be on repeat until you put it into. I'll give an example. Simple as like, drink more water, journal, write down your goals. Like, these are things. I mean, whoever's on social media, like, it's hard to avoid all this like self-help, personal development stuff. It's out there. You see all these things like avoid this, do that, and it is a lot of information. It's hard to know what to do. That's actually like good advice nowadays, so I can empathize with people, right? There's so much different fitness advice, fad diets, and all these different things. But my bottom line is like there's information out there, and a lot of it people will turn around and be like, well, I already know all this, or like, why would I bother hearing something I've already heard before? But have you changed since you heard it the first time? And the answer is, if the answer is no, if you're the same person, you're the same weight, you're the same level of happiness, you're the same level in your money in your bank account, then who cares if you've heard about compound interest before? Hear it again until you start actually taking advantage of it and using it. So hear it 100 more times if need be, right? Who cares if it's repetitive if you haven't put it into practice, right? Only complain that something, my coach is telling me the same thing over and over again. Well, have you done the thing that he told you to do? If not, then let him keep telling you the same thing over and over again. And once you've done it, then you can complain that, I've done it, and why am I hearing the same shit over and over? Tell me something new. But do it first, and then complain that you want something new. Some new advice, because it's not magic secret sauce. Who's that dude you don't like? The guy who broke out of prison. He didn't break out of prison. He got out of prison. Wes Watson. And he has this thing is like, dude, getting rich or getting fit, not complicated. Simple, but it's not easy. But it's simple formula. Compound interest is a simple formula. Macronutrients and hypertrophy is a simple formula to changing your physique, right? But people don't follow those things.
Well, I don't have an issue necessarily with Wes Watson. I have an issue with certain situations and the way he handles himself. And like when he gets called out on a lot of his nonsense, he just resorts to like blocking them and privating his account. So he's somewhat of a coward. He can't take criticism. He literally just resorts to privating his account. And or blocking them, and or both. So that's my biggest critique with him. I respect a great deal what he was able to do and be able to accomplish. It's not easy. I also don't necessarily love his. I have a friend of mine who takes his coaching, and it's debatable if that's coaching. He's literally just yelling at you.
Wait, like one-on-one or like group?
No, group. Like you pay. I don't know how much he charges, but whatever it is, it's not cheap. It's like high ticket.
Can you pull up a picture of Wes?
Of Wes Watson? You don't know what he looks like? He's like bald and jacked.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if he's the one who I think he is.
Yeah, you are correct. This is him. Right? And he got exposed for dating the porn star who was like on Instagram last year. She's like, you could tag me. I'm going to be famous. That's who his wife is now. So two big ego douchebags dating and marrying each other. It's a perfect match in heaven.
Okay, well, I don't know anything about these guys, but anyways I'm not one for celebrity gossip. But anyways, I just brought him up because he has this thing where he says like it's a simple formula. People want some magic sauce. There's no magic sauce. No,
but you know what? He can say
we
that
already
in the
know how to
position
make
that he's in.
People wealthy and healthy.
Yeah, he can say, but he can say that in the position he's in because I'm not saying he doesn't deserve what he has. I just say there's a bit of an element of luck involved into it because I'm sure there are people in the exact same position that he was in who posted very similar content, and for whatever reason the algorithm didn't pick it up.
Oh yeah,
right?
Okay,
so,
yeah, sure.
I still have massive respect for what he's been able to accomplish. It's not easy. Regarding like not changing, or there's a lot of misinformation, it's actually shocking how similar what you do and what I do is in terms of what people say to themselves, because they're just mentally, I guess I'm gonna say, fucked in the head. They're deranged.
They're just
resistant. They just make a lot of objections and excuses because there's no one else to blame but themselves. But there is a lot of misinformation, and it's the same thing with fitness. It's the same thing with financial literacy. The difference is, with fitness, is some people actually will like listen to terrible advice and then act on it. I feel like a lot of people listen to terrible financial advice and it's rare they act on it, but then, you know, people still get screwed over. Like they'll do a Ponzi scheme, they'll invest into like this great startup,
altcoins,
like,
or whatever,
Bitcoin, whatever. And I would just say, like, consult a professional or consult someone who actually knows what they're talking about.
Just do your research. Even watch a bunch of YouTube videos specifically, because you know how they say like the internet shows you what you want to see, kind of thing.
Typically, yeah, they know.
Like if you're Googling something, so Google like both sides. Be like, why is Bitcoin good and why is Bitcoin bad? And literally read like both sides of the argument. Like, don't just Google is Bitcoin good. Like look for the arguments as to why it's good and bad, and then kind of come to your own conclusion. Or it's not even good and bad, but just like understand what it is and how it works and why people like it or people don't like it. So,
but anyways, for the why not change? It's a big point. It's like literally start yesterday. Like it's just, there's nothing holding you back except for yourself. There's
a quote from Joe Dispenza that I've been reading some of his books that I like, and he basically says people change in basically usually in only one situation, which is when they've hit rock bottom. If you don't hit rock bottom, you typically don't like turn your life around. And now his point, though, is that it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to hit rock bottom, and that's the only time you change. It just happens to be that that's where we typically resort to. But he said if you want, you can change your life now without having hit rock bottom by having a vision of the future you want and letting go of your past identities. And he does it through, like, I mean, his way is through some meditations and stuff, but the point is that, like, I do think it's just very important to have a vision of the future and not be defined by your past. And then you can change from any point in your life, not just from a point of rock bottom, which I've hit a couple of times. And every time I did, I made a major change. When I did the first time, I started working out with you. Then I did the second time, I started this like mental health like course or program or coaching or whatever. So every time I hit rock bottom, I do a big change in my life, but it doesn't have to be only at the rock bottoms is kind of the point.
We want to talk about sales. What did you want to talk about sales?
I think it was contextual to what we were just mentioning at the time. I don't remember. I think it was just about how people suck. I don't know. People suck. Like overcoming. No. I remember. It's just the philosophy of sales. Like I've basically talked to some people about doing, because like I started doing what I'm doing part time. So I've talked to some of my friends about joining me and doing it part time, and they basically say I don't see myself doing sales, which is why I don't want to do what you're doing part time. But honestly, like I don't see what I do as sales, even though there is sales in it. Yeah. And to the extent that I understand that it is sales, I don't view sales as this like big bad wolf.
No, it's a necessary evil with pretty much.
Well, see, even that sentence. What is necessary? What's evil about it?
No,
it can
that's just an expression. It's not evil.
Yeah, sure. But like I'm saying, it's not even like it's just. It's like
if we go back to the modern day times, the only difference between internet and like. In sales was still a thing, and back in the day it was actually more manipulation tactics because there wasn't like something to be approved, or like there was no Facebook advertisements to say this goes against policy. You could literally just say there was
anything to anybody
in like the 1900s. You could put a newspaper ad and say this weight loss pill will like make you lose 100 pounds, and people would just buy that shit. And there was a lot of misinformation. That's literally
not
manipulation,
a lot of regulation
sales,
and stuff. Right? Yeah, so that's one thing. Obviously, there's compliance in the industry that I work in, so you have to have all these like rules and regulations you follow. That's the first thing. So it's not like anybody can just like sell these things. But the second part of that is, to the extent that you're selling it, what selling is connecting somebody with like something that they need, right? There's a person who's in a situation who has a problem and you have a solution. Yep. And you happen to went through the hard work of finding that person and presenting them with the solution and making it clear to them that it could solve their problem. The reward for that hard work, the commission check. Like, it's not unfathomable. Like, it makes sense. The whole system of I get paid by providing value to people or by showing them things that they need. And there's people who can basically sell things that are no good to anybody, and they can make a living like that, and that's what you might call snake oil.
No, I call it a scam.
Or a scam, or just like a con artist. Or
that's misleading. Like,
snake oil is like they're selling something basically useless, and they just sound good. Like they're like, oh, I'm a good, like, you know, they
yeah, it's $100.
right, like they sell, yeah, like they'll look good, they'll talk good, and whatever. But yeah, you got to have conviction what you're selling. You got to know it's valuable, and then if you do that, I think then sales is something that everybody really needs. Like, I don't know, it's Mosey and all these guys. Like, everyone is saying you need sales skills to be successful in life.
Well,
some people are just kind of in denial of that. I guess I don't know.
To be successful in life, in the grand scheme of things, I disagree with that. If to be successful in the realm of business, yes. Whether it's for yourself, where you have your own business, or whether you're in one, it's a necessary skill to have. But like if someone's a doctor, right, they don't really need the selling part. They can just be really good at their service. If someone's a nurse, they don't need to learn sales. If someone's a lawyer, they technically don't need to, like, there's certain industries, I would say probably 50% of industries in the world, you do not need sales.
Wait, hold on, can I count? Can I
no, you're going to tell me that, like, if you're a lawyer, you could sell better.
No, even the doctor, isn't that a frame that salespeople use, the doctor frame? You know what I mean? That have you heard about that? I don't know whose sales program this is, but I think it's Mark von Musser or something like that.
I don't know who that is.
He's like another sales.
From Netherlands.
Yeah, maybe.
He sounds like he wears clogged heels.
Yeah. So anyways, the doctor frame is like, or I think it's like Sam Ruffino and these like what's the other guy?
I also don't know who Sam.
Oh, come on, not Gary. Not Gary. My God, the guy who does the placing a setter into your Cole
Gordon,
whatever. Yeah, they all kind of draw on similar things.
Cole Gordon's a G.
So my point is, the doctor frame is this idea that, like, you're an expert on a subject. My expertise here is some particular kinds of financial strategies and instruments and, you know, general financial knowledge. So that's my expertise. And then I talk to someone, I see their problem. Their problem is they're not set up for their future retirement. I connect them to a solution. Now, as a doctor, what does the doctor frame mean? Doctor is the person comes in with a problem. Their problem is like, oh, my, like, you know, headaches. And you start to ask questions and you probe as a doctor. And then at the end of that consultation as a doctor, you provide a solution.
But that's not selling.
No, hold on. Then the guy goes, I don't want to take this medicine.
That's selling.
And then you have to say, well, listen, you're free to not take the medicine if you don't want. But it's my responsibility as a doctor to tell you that if you don't take the medicine, you will likely end up in this health situation down the line. Just like how you say, hey, if you don't start training, you will likely end up dead in a certain amount of years, or even fatter, or even more miserable down the line. It's just my responsibility to tell you that. Now, it's your call. But he's selling them so the doctor in that case is selling them on the solution, the medication, the treatment, whatever. If you can't convince the patient that they have to go through that experience, then maybe they have to put some money for the operation. Maybe it's an uncomfortable operation that's painful, but they go through it. Why? Because the doctor sold them that this is going to solve your problem more than the uncomfort that you go through in the meantime. It's communication, right? And so a doctor could fail to communicate the value of a treatment or procedure or operation, and then that person doesn't get it, and then that person dies as a result of not getting that operation, right? So which business do you not need sales in or good communication in? And even to get the job,
librarian.
A librarian. Like, even you gotta like know language. No, I mean,
and
you're
stuff,
right. You know,
you're right. I'm not saying. So there's a difference between, like, what you just explained was like communication in sales, but there's a difference between that and then like hard pitching or overcoming objections. But there's an objection, doctor. This is too expensive to me, doctor. The operation's gonna hurt. That I guess these are all objections, right? It's gonna hurt my pocket to put $50 a month aside. I went for surgery that cost $30,000 fucking dollars. Did I talk to the doctor once about that? No, they literally had a closer, and she was a very beautiful
Yeah, and
I didn't have any objections though, because my client literally because Sammy told me to go. I was a referral. You knew what 95% of referrals buy. Yeah, you're a good sell. You're a good customer. Yeah, but I don't really book a call or consult with someone if I don't have intention of buying. There are people that do because they want to like feel out the market or the cost or whatever. But I don't know. I just think even like, look, getting a girlfriend, getting a job, anything, getting a raise or promotion at work. You just have to, because see, that's persuasion. Okay, hold on. I actually want to make a distinction here. Sales is a whole process of building a relationship with a person and going through this whole, like, understanding their problem, presenting them with solutions. That's the whole sales process. Maybe what the word sales is often used for, and how you used it, is like those verbal tactics of to overcome objections, which can happen like on the final meeting when you're about to get a signature and there's some issues or something like that. But I'm talking about the whole process of like
building a relationship with someone, presenting yourself in a certain way, getting to know them, and understanding what you can do for them, if anything at all, and then being able to communicate that to them. That whole thing I'm calling the sales process, right? And I'm saying, so that happens with everything, dating or
but my point is, it's like,
not just the words you say, like, oh, I said this pickup line. That's not dating.
You're technically correct, but I think where we're not seeing eye to eye on is like that doctor, or like if for you to go on a date, you don't need to like hire a sales advisor or a coach to learn those questions. It's just going to happen naturally. Like, if you are a doctor who's struggling to sign patients because maybe you don't have any testimonials or credentials, and then sure, maybe learn how to overcome objections. But I think that's the biggest thing. Sales fundamentally is what happens literally day-to-day transactions. Some people don't realize they're getting sold to. Literally, like, sales is like, you can go into a grocery store and where they place products, that's a form of sales or marketing or advertisements or radio or literally like whatever, like a billboard. It's all sales, but it's all subjective. So can you share some basic investment tips for beginners that most people are clueless at? Or what, I guess, like,
First step is make a budget. 90% of people don't have budgets. Like, they just don't know how much they spend,
like
how much they make.
Like a profit and loss.
Yeah, exactly. Have a cash flow, like, understand your cash flow. What goes in, what goes out, what are you left with at the end of the month? If you don't do that, you can't save anything, you can't invest anything. So that's the first step. We help people do that.
How would you track, or how would you get someone to have a P&L or a profit and loss?
I have like a template that I go through with people,
send it to them?
and we go through it together. What do you pay for rent? What do you do for this? What do you do for that? Do you get
Excel,
haircuts how many times a month? You know,
like a QuickBooks or Excel, or like how would you set it?
Yeah, it's a Word document. You just fill it out, right? And then basically at the end of that, we do some, and it's just the major expenses of life, right? The ones that we know regularly occur, and then at the end of that, we figure out how much you regularly can save, if anything at all. And if you can't, then we got to figure out how to raise your income, which is the next problem. But let's say you make enough, you have some leftover money at the end of the month, just save it regularly. Make it a fixed expense. Make saving, this is basically the first part of every presentation I give, saving needs to be a fixed expense.
Yeah.
Just like your rent is. Just like you have a $50 a month every month going into this, right? That's your floor. Now you could, listen, in a do or die emergency, I'm starving situation, you could turn off that faucet, you could take the money out, you could sell those investments. Ideally not, but nobody's, it depends what you buy. You're not really locked in, even with investments. You do need to have a certain time horizon in your mind that I'm not going to look at this money for this period of time. That needs to be the mindset going into it. But nobody is saying if there's an emergency, you can't use that money. So, so the advice is make a budget, start saving a minimum amount as small as $50 a month. If you're in debt, then even more urgently, instead of being hopeless, have a conversation with somebody who can help you with a consumer proposal or debt consolidation. Bankruptcy is the last resort, honestly, and you have steps before that. Though. I mean, there's a lot of complications with bankruptcy, like after the fact, because then you can't take out loans, and you can't use a credit card anymore. So it's just, maybe it depends. You can't, it depends on. You might be able to get a consumer proposal where you just kind of go to the people who owe you money and you say, well, I can't pay you back how much I actually owe you, but I can pay you half or nothing at all. Take your pick. And you kind of have that negotiation with them. So there's a lot of options that we can help clients with getting out of debt, with starting saving, so as little as $50 a month. And then where do you put it? Somewhere diversified. So we say whether that's in like a ETF or a mutual fund.
Can you describe the acronyms, because some people might not know?
ETF is an exchange traded fund. Mutual fund is mutual fund. And so basically they're both funds, and funds are groups of, like, it's a basket of a bunch of different assets. So you have, like, rather than owning one stock of Apple, if you own one ETF, in that one ETF is represented at 100 different companies. So maybe 10% of that ETF is Apple, and then another 10% is Microsoft, and so on and so forth. But then they don't have to all be 10%. They could be different weightings, and then it all adds up to be 100 different companies. So let's say that one asset that you bought, that one unit of that fund that you bought, is allowing you to invest in an entire industry or in an entire market, so that you're not dependent on the success of a single supplier in the market, which is, let's say, Apple or Microsoft. They're a single supplier to the IT industry, to the tech industry, to the phone industry, whatever. So those are suppliers. You don't want to invest in only a single supplier. Who is that good for? Who's that trading, buying, selling, buying low, selling high good for? Somebody who has the time, knowledge, and expertise to actually dive into this stuff. But everyone else, just diversify your, investments, put it in funds. Now, what's the major difference between ETFs and mutual funds? ETFs have low fees and they're passive management, they're passively managed, which means that like those 100 companies in that basket are not often changing, whereas mutual funds are actively managed. They have higher fees, and then basically inactive management means that there's a team of people who are monitoring those 100 companies in that basket, making sure that if there's an opportunity somewhere, more money can be where the opportunity is. If something's about to go down, they can move the money out and secure it, move it somewhere else where it's not going to go down as much. So that's the main difference between those two. And those are pretty much the three things. So the first is make a budget, the second is start saving consistently, and the third is put it somewhere where it's diversified. So that's pretty much the starting blocks of getting started with investing.
Beautiful. Okay, that's a pretty good summary. And I guess on the same aspect, like what would you share, recommend, or I guess suggest like some tips for anyone wanting to start the weight loss journey? Or, well, yeah, because you struggled with, you had lows. Make
the decision, think about it. What are why would you want to change? What is, make it an emotional, we're all emotional creatures. Like at the end of the day, okay, you want to lose weight, why? And really understand what it would do for you. And then there's again a quote I really like: the price is easy to pay if the prize is clear. The price is easy to pay if the prize is clear. So the prize that you're getting at the end of the day from putting in that work or waking up early or putting in that money into that thing is easy to pay, or easier to pay, if you know what you're working for. But if you don't have goals, yeah, you're gonna wake up on that Sunday morning and be like, do I really want to get up and go for a run or do whatever I need to do or eat the salad or whatever the fuck is so have your goals.
I'm gonna David Goggins this shit. If you don't have a why, nothing's gonna get done. You can say the same thing for finances, you can say the same thing for health. It could be as simple as I hate the way I look in the mirror. It could be, well, that's not that simple. That's really deep shit. But it could be as simple as I don't like my health, but that's too vague. It has to be a specific reason why. It could be for the same thing with finances. It should be the same thing.
I can't play with my kids because I can't connect with my family.
Because I can't walk up a flight of stairs because I gasp for fucking air. I have to wear the seatbelt extender on a plane.
I'm embarrassed to
I'm embarrassed to take pictures with my friends. Yeah. I look like a fat fuck because I'm taking pictures with my friends and I don't want to be in photos with my friends. I can't wear clothes that I want to wear. I can't go out to a festival. I can't go to I can't sit on a roller coaster because I have let myself go to a really bad degree. And it could be the same thing with finances, but it is the same thing with finances. If you don't have a specific why, you're never going to get anything done. Nothing's going to change if you don't put the action in. And to take action, you need to take the action to actually have something. And if you don't have a reason why, you're not going to take any action to do that. It's pretty simple. It's with literally anything in life, but when it comes to your finances and when it comes to your health, it's incredibly important. I mean, you don't need fundamentally, everybody has a reason why to wake up in the morning. You go to work. Why are you going to work? Not because you like it. Most of you probably don't like your job, but it's because you need income to then survive and live, right? So when you boil everything down in every aspect and every task that you do in an everyday aspect in life, you have a reason why. But then why isn't fixing your health important so you could live longer for your kids, so you could walk them down the aisle? I don't know. Why is it that you don't want to invest money into saving for yourself, into saving for your future kids? I also don't know. But I'm not the guy here to convince you otherwise. I'm just here to make a conversation and kind of open you up to the possibility and idea of possibly changing, whether it's with finances, whether it's with fitness. It goes hand in hand.
And maybe we can end on this note that if you basically make that decision for yourself that you want a different life, nothing can stop you.
Except for yourself. Nothing can stop you except for yourself. I mean, obviously, other than like an act of God or a force majeure, which is basically some crazy act.
God's not going to stop you trying to help improve yourself. No, but
crazy act, right? Like a hurricane came through and like blew down your house, okay? Nothing can stop you except for yourself.
Even then, you get up and you build a new home.
Sure, but like
that's the resilience of man. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying that's what makes, honestly, I haven't struggled that much in my life, but I have a lot of respect for, my parents or others who have struggled more to get to us to where we are. So I just think, we're tougher than we think we are, and people are, people are capable more than what they think they are capable of. But you just got to give yourself a shot.
To quote Sean Evans from Hot Ones,
Nice.
We have this camera, and this camera. Let the people know what you got going on.
I don't know if the copyright on that is okay. You gotta
blow me. It doesn't know a copyright material. Is that a copyrighted material?
I think it is. I think it is. Yeah, because you're putting it on YouTube.
I'm giving credit to the owner.
True.
I literally credit him before I said it, so that is fair use.
Fair. Okay. Well,
I didn't like create with it.
I'm on a mission. I genuinely, what makes me so happy is when I get good feedback from people that, hey, like, thank you for sharing this with me. So that's all I'm looking for. What I do is teach people personal finance in Canada, also corporate finance as well, for those that are interested or have small businesses in Canada and want to reduce their tax burden. But basically, I do this education for free. It's very easy to book time with me. You can reach out to Puffy. I'll give him a link.
We'll put it all in.
But yeah, I get quite busy, but I always try to free up more time to talk to more people and to be able to teach more people. Do it in a group setting. I do it one-on-one. Every session is personable and customized, personalized. So people are coming in different life situations. They're coming from different levels of background different levels of education or different backgrounds. So, I try to make the conversation relevant to who I'm speaking to, and provide as much value as I can. And like I said, there's no strings attached, right? So you can come learn, and at the end of it, do nothing, not invest, not do anything. It's all complimentary, and all we ask is at the end is your honest feedback. That if you enjoy the information, you give us a referral. You tell friends. We spread the word, and more people can become financially educated. And if you have a horrible time, let me know and what we could do better, but I really doubt that would be the case. So, all
right, so there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I don't know what episode this is going to be, probably 5 or 6 of the Start Yesterday podcast. All the stuff, all the socials information for Shy is obviously going to be down below. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe for more, and like this, and also do me a solid and just drop like a comment, either a question on like what you would want to be answered on a later episode, or what you liked about this. Do the algorithm stuff and drop a like. It helps a tremendous amount, and it's free. And then other than that, if you're listening on Spotify, that's cool. Leave a review after you listen 3 episodes, because again, it helps with the thing. And I don't know anything about Apple Podcasts, but if I figure out how to do that, it'll be on there too. Thanks again so much for watching, and I guess I will see you and hear you in the maybe. I don't know. He talks a lot. Like, no, I'm joking. Probably. If you like him and you want to hear him back, put a comment down below.
Put it in the chat.
Otherwise, if there's no comments, well, then we have the answer. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and I guess that's a wrap.